Okay, so there is a big problem with unlimited eSIMs. Most of them just aren't unlimited because at some point our speeds will be throttled. And when that happens, or how bad it gets, is often impossible to know because many providers just don't tell you. And the irony here is that these unlimited plans usually cost more. So we pay a premium for the idea that our data will never run out, but in reality, the speeds can get so slow that the eSIM is barely usable. So how can that really be called unlimited? And I've always been skeptical of unlimited plans until I came across an eSIM openly claiming to give you 10 gigabytes of high-speed data every single day and at a decent price. So over 14 days, I tested it, pushing the eSIM as hard as I could day after day, and I put it head to head against Holafly, one of the biggest unlimited eSIM providers out there, and the results were pretty shocking. So SimLocal reached out and asked if I'd test one of their UK unlimited eSIMs. This particular plan costs £25, lasts 14 days, includes hotspotting and a UK number with unlimited minutes and text, and of course, not forgetting, you get 10 gigabytes of high-speed data each day. And if you really do get that much data per day, then across the 2-week period, you could use up to 140 gigabytes, which works out to be roughly 18 pence per gig. Honestly, I think this is too good to be true. That is exceptional value for a travel eSIM. Like, you won't find fixed data eSIMs offering anything close to that, and even many physical SIMs will struggle to match it. And look, I'll put some price comparisons on screen so you can see where this sits in the market, but on paper, the value here is very strong, especially if you're a heavy data user who also needs a local number. But again, it feels too good to be true. They can't possibly give you that much data for that price. So to test this properly, I used 2 iPhones side by side, one running the SimLocal eSIM and the other running an unlimited eSIM from Holafly. My plan was simple: download as much content as possible on Amazon Prime until the connection was throttled, but straight away, I had a little problem. On the phone using the Holafly eSIM, Prime thought I was abroad, which makes no sense because I'm here in my studio, but it wouldn't let me download anything. Streaming still worked, but downloads were blocked entirely, which suggests that the eSIM on this phone is being routed through a foreign server or IP, and that can obviously cause all sorts of issues, not just with Amazon Prime, but with things like Google Maps thinking that you're in the wrong place, or YouTube might serve you foreign ads, which isn't ideal. The second thing I noticed was latency. The Holafly eSIM had a much higher ping, which again suggests that the traffic was being routed from abroad, while SimLocal's was much better. So instead of downloading content from Prime on Holafly, I had to just sit and stream YouTube in 4K while simultaneously downloading movies on the SimLocal eSIM. And within just an hour, I had downloaded 10 gigabytes with SimLocal. It was that fast and easy. So now I've used my allotted amount of data and it's time to be throttled. Except, according to this speed test, the connection was fine. So I kept downloading, deleting, and downloading again. I streamed video, browsed the web, and shockingly, the speeds never changed. With Holafly, at this point, I was only at 5 gigabytes, and I think they were beginning to throttle me because it was getting very slow. Even YouTube wasn't working. So instead, I started to download a 22 gigabyte file thinking that there's no way that this will work and I can just leave it on until it crashes. And oh boy, did it crash. Just quickly, if you're already thinking about getting a SimLocal eSIM, I have a coupon TMoney15 that'll get you 15% off. I've also put a link in the description box below with all the details, but they are priced competitively. They use networks like EE, Orange, and 3, which have great coverage, and they give you access to calls and texts with local numbers in case you need one. But this video is really about the unlimited plan, so let's get back to testing. So with SimLocal still burning through data and at a fast pace, Holafly was beginning to struggle. It had managed to download 6 gigabytes of this file, but it was at that moment it came to a grinding halt. And if we take both phones side by side at this point, SimLocal has now used nearly 19 gigabytes of data and Holafly is at 12, which is a solid effort, except nothing is working anymore. I can't stream and the download has completely stopped, which can only mean one thing: we've been throttled. And a speed test backs that up. Download was at 1.39 megabits per second and the upload just 0.31. So at 12.3 gigabytes, Holafly had been defeated. And I even did a second speed test and I got 0.07 megabits per second. At that speed, the internet will technically work, but in the same way a dripping tap could technically fill a bath. But you've got to give Holafly credit. It made it to 12 gigabytes, which is still very good, and it will live to fight another day because they say your speeds typically return to normal after 24 hours. It's day 2 of testing and we have a slight issue. In fact, it's not really slight, it's a bit of a major problem The Holafly eSIM is still throttled. It's not working. I just did a speed test 24 hours later and nothing. So I'm just going to kick on with SimLocal, test this one today, and return to Holafly tomorrow. It wasn't until the following day that Holafly started working again. So in total, it took around 36 hours for speeds to recover, which is obviously longer than what they suggest, but maybe they were just mad at me for using so much data on the first day. With SimLocal, I'm just now waiting to be throttled. I'd already used 20 gigabytes on day one, so surely it was inevitable. At some point, my speeds had to crash. So I carried on downloading all the way to 31 gigabytes. But at that point, I got really bored of staring at my phone and repeatedly downloading the Night Manager. So instead, I left a podcast playlist running in 4K. I left the room, and when I came back, I was up to 40 gigabytes and still no throttling. And it just kept going. Another 20 gigabytes on day 3, another 20 on day 4, day 5, and so on. That same pattern continued for the full 14 days. I genuinely couldn't believe it, but I could not throttle this eSIM. And by the end of testing it, I'd used around 250 gigabytes of data, and at no point, at least as far as I could tell, had I been throttled. So an eSIM that cost £25 gave me roughly 250 gigabytes of data. That's about 10p per gig, or under £2 a day, for around 18 gigabytes of usage. That sounds ridiculous. I mean, that is insane value, especially for someone traveling to the UK that's a heavy data user. Or even if you live in the UK, like the fact you can hotspot this eSIM means it could work as a backup connection if your home internet ever went down. The big question is though, can you expect the same results with a SimLocal unlimited eSIM in another country or region? And the honest answer is, it depends. Because all unlimited eSIMs are subject to local networks, congestion, and fair usage rules. That's true for every provider, no matter how good they are. But this is where I think SimLocal stands out and why they're one of the few companies I'd actually trust when buying unlimited. Firstly, they're upfront that you don't have unlimited speeds, and they're clear about how much you're actually getting and what happens afterwards. And that matters because if a plan clearly says you get up to 10 gigabytes of high-speed data per day, and you don't get that, you actually have something to point to. You can contact their support, which from my experience are pretty good, and you can raise the issue and get it fixed. So while it's not guaranteed you'll get 250 gigabytes everywhere in the world, I think SimLocal are a safe bet. They're transparent and very generous with high-speed allowances, include hotspotting as standard, and use proper local networks wherever possible. That, in my opinion, is exactly how unlimited data should be sold. And if you're thinking of getting one, please do use my coupon TMoney15 for 15% off. I've also put an affiliate link in the description of this video if you'd like to support the channel. And please drop any questions in the comments if you have them. I always read them. I always try to reply to them. And if you want to see how SimLocal holds up out in the wild, including some very remote parts of Britain, then check out this video here. This one was really fun to make. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.